Patsy Turrini from Long Island, New York, Merrick, and I'm a clinical social work psychoanalyst, and I'm an 83. First thing, I saw social workers talking with patients when I was 15 as a nurse's aide, and I was awed by the fact that they were talking to the people who were lonely and lying in bed. Second thing, though, that I think really entrapped me was I was in an abnormal psych class at the University of Michigan, and the teacher discussed the subject globus hystericus. And what that is a person gets a lump in their throat and they can't breathe and they gag. Well, my mother had had that her whole life and nobody ever defined it or knew what that was. So here was a whole story of it could be treated, and it was a symptom, and it was psychoanalytically understood, which was awesome to me. So also, just as an angle of that, my mother used to sit my father and I on one side of the table, and then when we had fun, this is when she would get her lump in her throat, and she was obviously depressed, sad, angry, and all kinds of things, and then she would run to the bathroom and choke. So I have to say that was a huge life event that went on, many parts of my life. Another way I got to the psychoanalytic world was I worked at the University of Michigan Children's Hospital, a psychiatric division, and Dr. Rabinovitz was teaching there, and he was a psychoanalyst. So he was, we had conferences every day. I was watching the treatment, and I was watching the terrible illnesses that some of the children had. So that was another very important exposure to the psychoanalytic world. Well, I treat people and they get better. And an example, I have a long time ago, a young woman just came out of the state hospital, and she was 21, I think, at the time. And she couldn't talk at all, and she didn't want to talk. And it turned out the reason she didn't want to talk, she was so mad at her mother that her mother had given birth to 4 other children and kept her, and stayed away 7 days. And this young woman gave me the punishment for 7 months by not talking at all in sessions. But you know what? She got better. She got a whole life. She became a massage therapist. I got letters from her after, toward the very end of the treatment, she began to talk, so we could put together things. But it was a wonderful, inspiring experience for me to learn how to sit through the hostility of it, and yet help her move forward in her life.